Well then, let's bring it on up.
Hello, I hear a beeping noise.
Hey.
So can you hear my? Can you hear me? Is my audio too loud or
I
too
can
soft?
I can absolutely hear you.
Because it's like I have no feedback on my wow, and it's actually synchronous this time,
It
and
is.
I can watch you.
I worked very hard to get this set up so it
Oh,
works properly.
I busted my butt on to get mine set up too. Oh my gosh.
I spent a lot of time making sure this was absolutely 100% perfect. Now they got to
And if
make
I
sure
want to see your face, I can watch on my computer with the sound turned off like a normal person.
that's right. And I imagine before you heard the beep, you should have still been able to hear me talk. That's the way it's set up.
Yeah.
So someone calls and they're in the queue, they can hear everything that's going on. If someone called and is in the queue now, they would hear you as well.
Okay, cool.
It's set up so they call in and still hear the show.
Cool. I was talking about, or I was switching gears, like from the bathroom TV setup to get on this call, but y'all were talking about like scary forest stuff and Artville thing. So there's some places in northern Wisconsin where like you can't get GPS or Sirius XM, like you can't even get FM stations because the trees are so dense. But my story with the 9 Inch Nails thing was that there was this 85-year-old man that was like widowed and he lived by himself, like almost in Canada pretty much, and his granddaughter like got pretty hate machine by 9 Inch Nails jammed in his cassette recorder or his cassette thing in his car, and there's no radio stations for like 3-hour range, and so he like knew the entire album like from hearing that on repeat.
The only thing you could listen to the entire time.
Yeah.
9 Inch Nails. Not exactly something that you would expect somebody older to want to listen to at the time.
Well, he didn't want to. His granddaughter got it jammed in there. Poor guy. But yeah, I mean, I like that album, but like, I wouldn't want any album on constant repeat.
No. And sometimes one album can become a little too much, which reminds me, I had a buddy of mine, Carl, who had recently passed away too. He his family didn't know a whole lot about him, his relatives that weren't nearby, and his grandmother especially. All she knew is he liked AC/DC. So she bought him the Back in Black album at the time. And then people heard that you like him. So everybody that year got him a Back in Black album. And he wound up with like 15 copies of Back in Black. And it became a running joke that every year all of us friends would go and find an old cassette copy of Back in Black and we would get it for him for his birthday. And we told him he should have kept every copy of it over the years and just had this giant wall of like Back in Black cassettes, because in the end he hated it. He would never listen to that album ever again because that's all he ever had. Everybody bought it for him.
I always like her. I was like kind of my class DJ, so sometimes I felt the peer pressure to like buy some albums I didn't really want to get, but
that would happen.
Anyway,
if you didn't want to buy them, you'd get somebody to dub it for you anyhow.
I don't. The CD burners, they hadn't came out yet. So that was like whenever. Or it's pretty shitty. Like if you're like the track king, the track queen or track captain, and you're playing, and your last name's on all your CDs, and people. It's a small town, and like people still take your CDs, even though it's obviously mine. They just took it.
Yeah.
But you could tell how good you could tell like the NWA was one of the most stolen albums. That one and
that fits.
That was probably the most stolen album. But yeah, but like 50-year-olds today, like, I don't know if they're maybe they're just stupid and they live in the forest, or either they think they're trying to get one over on me because they're shady people. But so the way it works when I check out with somebody, it's like, I'm like, okay, your total is $200 for this session, or whatever the amount is, and then it's a link that I send to them, and they punch in their credit card info so that I have, like, I don't need to hear any of their numbers, and nobody listening into their phone call needs to hear their numbers, and they can't turn around and say, hey, this is a bogus thing. Like, they can punch in I'm not going to be your secretary and type in your freaking numbers. But it's a continual thing. They're like, oh, well, I was using my debit card and I didn't have enough money in that one. And I mean, like, this lady had me on for an hour and a half, like, just so frustrating. It's like, I need the consistent income, like, on a monthly basis from people like that. But I just don't know if it's just stupid or if there's a better way to explain it. But I mean,
No.
They're just. I think it's just stupid. I really don't know. Like,
I think a lot of it sometimes is just stupid, but it amazes me. Even just the other day in the store, picking up some groceries, and the person in front of me, every time I see them in there, because I'm in a small town now, that you see the same people all the time.
Well,
it takes
so
them
yeah, you have to put on makeup.
Yeah,
Mom says you have to. You're going to Walmart looking like that. I don't think so.
Yeah, but this gentleman every time has to take 5 or 6 times in order to pay. Never gets it correct. I either wrong card, or wrong PIN number, or I pushed the wrong button. I don't know it, and it's the same thing every time. And then I don't know sometimes if it's people being stupid or difficult, or if some people in our own age range, and those that are older, just do not want to learn something new, even though it's not new anymore. Yeah.
I think it's like it's partially like they're just lazy, but they don't realize, like, obviously, like, the alphabet people, I know they're going to be listening. Like, their station is pretty close to where I live, but like, the bad guys, they're the ones that I don't, it's like, that's why I don't want people texting me specific medications, or like, I don't want the bad guys to figure out where I'm at using the same technology that the 3-letter agencies do.
Yeah.
Since I'm on the bottom of my apartment level.
Got to go to the top floor. So nobody will notice when you line the walls with tinfoil.
Oh, well, I already did that, but you can't tell. But, well, not my walls, but I made quilted double. My excuse for getting a sewing machine that was supposed to sew 7 layers of leather, which was a joke. It totally stroked out.
I couldn't see a home sewing machine being able to sew 7 layers of leather.
It could, and it was the heavy duty one that they were giving it out for free samples to people during Corona. But I mean it was a hardcore machine. Like, I mean, I really liked it, and it wasn't mechanical, so it was like, it was super quiet. I mean,
yeah.
I think what broke it was like the gummy material in between my, like, Adidas flip flops. I was trying to sew that back together, and I think the sticky material got inside of the mechanism.
I would think even with that, the needle moving fast enough, that would kind of melt and then get gummed up in there.
Yeah, well, you would think so. I mean, it was, but like, the deal is that I luckily, it kicked the bucket one day before I could return it and get all my money back. So,
yeah.
Anyways, it worked really good for, like, quilting and stuff. Like, so, like, my windows are I don't know. They're really freaking tall, but I mean, my electric bill gets crazy expensive and drafty. So, but also like I did a quilted layer in between like the colored layers. But so one guy coming over, he was like, "You're here?" Like he's like, "It doesn't look like you're home." I'm like, "Well, I did
That's
it
the
for
way I like
I did it to yeah."
Yep. That's the way I like it. I don't want people to always know when I'm home. Although, mind you, the vehicle in the driveway tends to give it away most times. But
So that's what I really like about this complex is that the garage I have is attached, but it could be anybody in this building of three floors. So I can pop in it I go in my garage or whatever, and like they have no idea or you can't tell from the balconies either like where I'm at. So they make like detached garages too, but that kind of defeats the point. I don't. You just like in the wintertime, it's too cold to like do mechanic stuff. But
yes, but that's
anywho,
a little different. Everyone I've been to, it's always either just open parking lot or covered parking underground.
yeah, the place I had in Minneapolis, it was built in it was supposed to be it was the 1920s, like professional style of the time apartment complex. It was like a really good deal, then it was crazy. I mean, it had boiler heat and
That would have had the old radiators in it. That would have been nice.
Yeah, it was super nice. And then the inside courtyard, it had like this insane flower garden, and then it's like there was washing machines in the basement, it was so old that they even had like the washboard things for the people, I guess, before washing machines were invented or whatever, to scrub their stuff. But
continue.
Oh well, it was just like all you get is like a sink on a pedestal, and that's it. And if you're like girl and you want to like do your hair and your makeup like for the kitchen and like the storage space or closet stuff, like some of that stuff like really sucks because like my bathroom is kind of my palace. So like you have to.
It must be.
But I get to
bathroom TV and all, so you can kick.
Oh well, I mean it came from the trash, but I mean it's a Sony Bravia, but if you're just like sitting there soaking, I don't want to listen to a podcast on my phone. I want to like sit there with the Chromecast and
have it on the TV. Crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you can look at other things on the phone or type on the phone.
Well, yeah, I usually don't use the phone like when I'm in there. So the Chromecast looks like a piece of it's like a soap bar. I have like some remote control bag over it so the water doesn't get in the buttons, or like if I'm cooking in the kitchen, I don't get grease all in the buttons.
Yeah. Yeah. That old building that you were in there with the old, like the boiler heat and the old radiators.
Yeah.
I lived in one that. That was used to be old military housing. That was old row houses is what they were.
Oh.
And they had the boiler heat in there, but none of the piping was in the walls. It was all exposed. So you didn't have you just didn't have your radiator, but you'd have pipes.
So you could hang. You could probably.
That would be.
You could hang on everything there.
Yeah, you could hang stuff on it, or you would hang your clothes on the exposed pipe, and they get all nice and warm. So in the fall or the winter, you could put on really nice warm clothes. It was
a lot of the time you had to like crack those were like severe winter windows, but and again I was on the bottom floor then too, but it was elevated enough where it was kind of like a half of a floor where I guess people maybe they designed it that way, I guess, for the tunnels and everything underneath and the parking underneath, and then they had like when you raise the window up or cracked it, like it had the little pin locks where somebody couldn't just like yank the whole window up, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but
Don't want to be having that.
but when Daddy and I we were pulling out to the place, and it's like it was hotter than hell, like or we thought it was, but he's like, did they make some kind of new air conditioner? Or like, I know they don't have central AC here, but like some people had window units, and he was like, if they had to design something, surely, and then he's like, they can't be that communist. Oh my God. He's like, what the hell? Like, but yeah, no, they just decide to just be sweaty and just be miserable. Like, that's terrible. But you're only allowed one window unit, and I was a Texan asshole with three window units.
I've never thought of the idea of having to sit around and being sweaty and miserable as being communist before.
It's communist as hell. Oh my God.
I don't have air conditioning where I am now, but it gets super hot during the day, but we're lucky enough it gets quite cold at night. So at night, I open every window in the house, and I got some fans, and they blow in, and it gets so cold in here in the morning that you almost wish you could turn the heat on. So then I shut everything off. I got heavy curtains, and the house tends to got enough trees around it that it stays a decent temperature most of the day. So you don't have to always sit and be miserable until I come into the office to do this, and it gets really stuffy in here, and with all the electronics on, it gets very warm.
Yeah, or like, I guess when I I slept cooked a pan last weekend for 4 hours, and so yeah, we had to pull in the major fans, and I still can't get the full heavy metal smell out of one part of my kitchen.
Oof.
But I'm surprised it lasted that long. I mean, I fell asleep on the couch or whatever, but the smoke alarms like set it off. But I'm surprised it took the heat that long before. I mean, it was my favorite pan. It was a nice one.
Sleepwalking a pan. That is something different.
Or I mean, I was attempting to cook a hamburger helper, so the meat was out there, and there's like a pinch of like hamburger meat in a measuring cup, which like I don't know, like a bird would do it or something, but none of it was in the pan.
Okay.
So
see, that reminds me of an. This is a bad one. This is one of them. One time when I was drinking stories, it has to relate to the sleeping while cooking. I had come back very late, shut down the bar, come home, was pretty drunk, and for some reason, being as drunk as I was, decided that baked potatoes at 2:00 in the morning would be a great idea. So I turned the oven on, and I filled it full of potatoes. And I proceeded to go into my room and go to sleep. And I was in an apartment building, not a big, we're like 25 floors, but I was on the ground floor. And when I woke up, it was when the firemen kicked my bedroom door in, because I had been asleep for a few hours, and the potatoes burnt to black, and it filled my apartment, and I was on the ground floor. It filled the entire bottom hallway and lobby of the apartment building. Yeah.
It
was going up
so
the
I didn't even
to the second floor.
Wow. Mine was probably too, like, so the neighbors and stuff called, like, I had already been like airing, I was like doing the doors to the hallway and the door to my patio, and like I was doing that for a whole hour, and then I guess it spread. I guess that was whenever the neighbors started like smelling it and whatever. But they put the turbo fans on each end of the hallway. But
yeah, it was bad.
I don't know how to get.
They kicked the door when I woke up, and there was no smoke in my room. That was the odd part.
Well, there wouldn't have. there wouldn't have been a probably the way I do mine. Like I barely just crack it open because it stays cold. Because I don't want any extra. I want it super duper dark. I don't want any extra light in there, so it's fully blacked out when I'm sleeping. But I was since I was like, I guess I was like hungry. I wasn't drunk or anything. It was my sleep cycle just like got really screwed up, and so some telemarketer or somebody from ZocDoc recruiter called me at like 9 something in the morning and pissed me off, and then I kind of didn't go to sleep. So at least I was in the living room or whatever whenever all that happened, and the fire alarms are blazing loud. But that sucked. I can just anyways, but no fire.
No, and everybody thought for sure I was getting evicted out of the building. They're like,
wow!
Well, no. They thought it was, and I'm like, it's not going to happen. And the building managers wanted to evict me, but my this would be my mother's.
I'm like, they're strict. They're strict here, but like, man, for potatoes, like,
it was because the building was smoke, and the fire department had to come and all that. They would do that. I mean, that building had actually had the sheriffs throw people out on Christmas morning before. So.
Oh yeah. So this is like fancy pants people, or either they like, or I don't know how to just. It's kind of the only safe
not so much
pocket of Milwaukee.
These people were. It's $1 for everything. If you were 1 minute late with paying a bill, they would get you. You know. Well, I'm going to say hi to Jamie, who finally made it in.
Huh? Oh, so is there another caller?
Nope. No other caller yet, but Jamie Thomas made it in. Usually makes it in after about an hour.
I'm a mixer type question, or I guess you're not using a mixer, but so I still can't figure out why like when I'm talking, I can barely hear my own, or I can't see the level, the audio levels or whatever on the analog lights when I talk. But when you talk, you're almost clipping up to red, even though you're perfect sound level and you're not distorting. And I cannot figure out what the hell is the issue.
Really? Yeah, because I had to read, because I different computer, different sound card, and all that stuff tonight. Then the last few weeks, I had to reset everything, and I got a noise gate going to prevent me from my end from clipping, even if I shout. It will not go any real louder than it is now. So
that's like that's what they had during the Live Aid concert for Freddie Mercury, and they had that level cut off. But then whenever it was his turn to sing, then they like cut the level, or they cut the level, or removed the levels or whatever, so he could go louder.
I was gonna say, how dare would anybody ever try and hinder Freddie Mercury?
I thought that was a cute fact.
That would be somebody would need to get lynched if they tried that.
Well, I don't know. It's corporate media. Like they can kind of do what they want.
Especially now, they get away with it now.
Yeah.
Jamie's just saying.
I probably talked to.
She was watching the convention. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. I keep meaning to pull up the actual feed so I can see your face to see if it was syncing. And I was.
Oh, to see if it's syncing.
Or I mean, to see like what the delay is, like. Even though I could look at my phone, but it just
should be about 3 to 6 seconds is the standard delay.
You're like, I would say probably 1 second.
Really?
1 second, like, yeah.
I managed to get it cut down. Well, I'm not using. I'm using another program that uses a external server to help boost everything, right? Because running everything
that's probably
off my
helping.
home system was taxing it a bit
Not
much
good.
because I also run my home server for my movies off the same system. And so
Yeah, so you have like a Sub-Zero cooler. Like that's a good way to mount all your stuff.
it goes. Most of the stuff I have doesn't suck a lot of power at one time. It's the bandwidth that was getting eaten up and the processing power. So it's
Oh, and then
slowly going down.
your internet company probably tries to choke you off too. And then your AV card or your graphics card, like mine, it's a gaming computer, but it's already like near its end of its lifespan, like because of the 3 monitors I have on it. But I'm gonna stop babbling to you because it's probably way past your bedtime. But
Not
no, I
not
can't.
quite, but we'll see
Do
if
you think
somebody
it
else
was
does.
Biden? Do you think it was Biden that was talking like last night after 11 o'clock? Because I don't know how he could actually do that. That was just a yes or no poll.
As near as I could tell, I didn't watch the whole thing. I seen I
Yeah.
watched about a minute clip of it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't worth watching but yeah, he just had way too much energy, or he was sluggish, and he got a lot of energy, and it was up and down, and it was weird. But I'll let you. Nice to chat.
all right, the
See,
inaugural caller. So there you go.
that actually works.
That
But does
however long this
speech?
continues on, and as the year goes by, and maybe another year if I'm lucky, you'll always be the first official, actual on-air caller.
Thank you very much.
So
Take
there
the
you go.
bow.
You bet. Take that
Bye.
bow. Bye.